If you don't change the way you're living, you're going to die. These harsh words woke me from a nap on a lazy Saturday afternoon. Who the hell said that? And then I heard it again. Helen, if you don't change the way you're living, you're going to die. What shook me wasn't the fear of any impending health scare or freak accident. It wasn't even the fact that I was hearing voices. What shook me was that the voice was right. I was dying a slow, silent death. After 3 full-term pregnancies ending in stillbirth, my parents were blessed with a bundle of pure joy, me. By that point, they had an entire life plan, just waiting for a child, a plan that had been carefully thought out through each pregnancy until it was forced upon me like a job description. I would be their perfect little Greek girl. I would speak Greek fluently. I would cook delicious Greek food. I would grow up and marry the best Greek guy. We would have lots of Greek children and own a home mortgage-free. And everything was going according to plan until I was about 3 years old. And I was sitting on my dad's knee at the kitchen table. Daddy had his big hand cupped over my little right hand, supporting the pencil, teaching me how to write the alphabet. After a while, he stood up, put me down on the chair. And as he walked out of the kitchen, I absent-mindedly transferred the pencil into my left hand and continued doodling. He looked at me, and the expression on his face changed instantly. The energy in the whole room had changed. And I just knew I had done something wrong. Apparently, being left-handed was taboo and never part of the plan. When I was 10 years old, I got 98% on my math test. "Daddy, look at this," I said proudly. My dad looked at the test and responded, "Okay, what mark did the other kids get?" The weight of feeling like a constant disappointment was a burden that I carried that just got heavier. This plan consumed every moment of my life, leaving no room for me and no room for my joy. In my late 20s, my family really began to panic when my marketable youth began to wane. I was set up with a nice Greek guy who pointed out reassuringly on our first date that I would make a suitable choice to be his wife. When I told my parents that was never going to happen, my mother's shocked response, "Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? He's a good Greek boy." They could not understand how I could pass up this opportunity to be somebody's wife. By my mid-40s, I'd had no wedding, no husband, no house, and no children. What I had was an unsettled, restless feeling, a constant ache, an insatiable calling to find my joy. So as my 49th birthday approached, I knew I had to do something to call in my joy. But what? Paris. I'll go to Paris. Ooh la la, every woman wants to go to Paris. So I sit down and I craft the perfect Parisian itinerary. I input all my information and I just can't hit enter. Some time passes, I sit down at my computer. I input all my information and I still can't do it. All right, 3rd time's a charm. I got this. Every woman wants to go to Paris. I sit down at my computer and I crumble. "Helen, what the hell is wrong with you? Just book the damn trip." And this little voice, this little 3-year-old voice whispers, "But I don't want to go to Paris. I want to go to Africa." Africa? Are you crazy? Who the hell wants to go to Africa? Can you just go to Greece? But once the truth is out, it is like a dam has burst. Yes, Africa. I Google South African adventures. I input all my information, and without any hesitation, I hit enter. I feel this odd tingling sensation in that moment that takes over my whole entire body. I feel alive. I feel my joy. And I am struck with the reality of just how much of my life I have compromised, even as a grown-ass woman, denying myself of having my own dreams. Fearful of disrupting their plan and disappointing my family, until finally one day finding the courage to say, enough. This is my life. I refuse to reach the end of my life having only lived as a failure of somebody else's plan. And on that first night on the animal reserve, under a starlit sky, tucked in my sleeping bag, surrounded by the sounds of Africa, I inhaled deeply, letting the air fill my lungs, as if taking my very first breath, and awakening after a lifelong slumber. And I knew in that moment that I was not going to die, because I had found the courage to change the way I was living.